Hello, welcome to FountainFX on Tuesday the 22nd of July 2014. We are looking at the Euro US dollar very quickly, because previously we took a look at it and we were looking at prior area of support and seeing if price was going to break through it, and if it did, where the next level of support is at, and price has actually done that today. So we have seen a break from the 135.20 all the way down to the 134.85. Now, I'm going to quickly zoom down into smaller time frames so you can see how you could have planned this and traded this. So it will help with your trading. So on the 4-hour chart, we did plot these earlier on. We plotted, or I did anyway, I don't know whether I shared it with you, but I plotted it based on a trend line running along the bottom, so the lows to the lows to the lows of these wicks. So that was the lower trend line running that way, and then the higher trend line, which was literally from the high to this high running that way. So I had 2 touches there, and I had three touches along the bottom when I plotted it. Okay, so it created this triangular pattern. We were waiting for the break of the triangle, which happened early this morning, and then after that we've just had the collapse in price in terms of the euro, and it's broken from the 135.20 all the way down to the 134.85, which was to be expected because previously price had pushed down there. That was the probability of it. Price had been able to get that far. However, when you do this, the simple thing is there's various different ways of making entries on this. So because this is a case of waiting for price to break when you're looking at this, then the only real way in which you can trade this is to place market orders, not limit orders, because limit orders are to say that you are predicting something to happen before it's happened, and you can look at sort of levels, and that's where the supply and demand strategy on the website comes into play. So you can do set and forget kind of trades. You use your limit orders. So for example, let's say I was wanting to sell at this area up here because price came up to it, based, and then fell, and it's actually fallen a lot further from there since then. So you've got a big movement from there. So I would sit there and I may place a sell order at this level at the bottom. So if I put a line on there just to show you, so I might choose to place a sell order here, and then I can place a stop order above this area to give myself some space. So that's my risk, and then because price fell all the way down to this area here, then I place a limit order to say that's my target, and I can bracket that within the one order, and it can run totally automatically without me having to touch it or play with it or do anything with it. In this instance, because we're looking at the break of these particular trend lines, we would be looking to place a market order. So how do we do that? Well, it's quite simple. We go up, we click on the new order window at the very top of the screen, so that opens up the new order, and then we've got current price right in the middle of the screen. So at this point we wanted to sell, so we would click sell by market at the point where we're seeing the break. Now if I quickly flick down to the 1-hour chart, you'll be able to see a bit more detail, and on the 1-hour chart we can see that price did push all the way up to here, turned, fell, rallied along here, and it's really at this point, so it's early this morning, late last night, early this morning, price then went sideways, and then it's turned, and it's actually starting to run along this particular trend line. So it's now actually honouring the trend line. It's showing that the trend line is valid. So a simple case of saying, right, I'm going to sell because it looks like it's actually running there. Okay, we haven't seen all of this yet, by the way. We haven't seen any of this. We're just using certain trend lines and certain techniques and strategies to try and improve on our trading. This trend line that's sitting here was actually plotted based on the 4-hour chart, not on the 1-hour chart. So the fact that it's now running into it shows that people are starting to use it as a place to sell, and sell orders are starting to come in. So we press on the sell by market, and it triggers us into the trade. It now runs. Now what we could do at that point is we could modify the order, and we could place a limit, we could place a target. Okay, so if you modify an order, we can then place a pending order against it. So we could, if it's an existing order, we can come into this area and we can then place a take profit. In fact, actually I'm going to change that, go back to market execution. At the top we have stop loss and we have take profit. So we can then place a stop loss above this area. So we say, well, if price then turned and whipped back up out and broke this trend line, then obviously it's not trending that way, so we want to get out of the trade. On the other hand, if it does push down, we've got a target down here because of previous price action, and we want to take profit. So we type in the 134.85 as our take profit, and price has come down, and we've taken profit. Thank you very much. We're out of that trade. Or we could have sat and waited until it got down to here, and then clicked the buy by market, which is doing the reverse of the existing trade, and it would have closed us out. Or we could have, when we've got our orders at the bottom, we have an order window. To the right hand side of the order window there's a cross. You can quickly click on the cross and it will close the trade. So that's really it. Start playing around with orders. It's a demo. If you've got a demo account, use the demo account as much as you can. It's practice without any real risk, and that's how you get to understand about market, about trading, about buying and selling orders and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's me from FountainFX. I'm just going to quickly flick over to the US dollar South African rand, and the reason being is the South African rand was falling very, very nicely, and it's now found a level of support and it's starting to push back up. So I have closed my trades. For those of you that are shorting, I would recommend you probably look at either moving your stops to your entry, or actually looking to close and wait to see what the market wants to do next. I'm going to quickly flick over there now, so let's do that. So here we are, we're on a 15-minute chart. My entry was up here, my sell orders were up here where the red line is. Just a bit below that was another order. Both of those orders I've closed. My other order entry was in here based on this close here. So I was looking at the fact that price was moving down quite nicely, so I sold here, it then pushed up, so I sold again at this level, and it then pushed all the way through, and I thought, oh great, but I had my stop above this area here, in fact right above here. It turned and it fell very nicely. I ran a trend line based on this, and I had a stop. I moved my stop down to just above this area here, so I was out at this point. So I did bank around about 50 points in that trade, not a huge amount. See, I could have just placed this as my target area, in which case I would have been out at that point as price fell. But there we go, that's really it from FountainFX. Happy trading. We will catch you tomorrow. Bye bye.